I'm Rebecca Michael.
I'm Daniel Ratcliffe.
And this is the Real Empowerment Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have Red Bull, so clearly life is going to be fun this next podcast session.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be really, really quiet.
Yeah, not so much. Okay. Well, this episode we actually have from the independent living movement is the INR specialist for the Independent Center. And Marita, I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we'll jump into all the things Marita and what Marita does. And by the way, we're going to call her out on this. We don't prepare notes, do we, Daniel?
You might not.
No,
I'm playing. No, we never prepare.
We don't actually. Notes. We actually give the disclaimer to our guests that we don't prepare questions.
Nope.
It's a conversation amongst friends. And Marita walks in with a notebook.
Yeah.
And papers.
There's nothing written in this notebook to my credit.
She's cheating.
She is cheating. Comes in all prepared. We're not even prepared.
No, she's taking up more of the desk than
I know.
Are.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That means she's professional.
Coffee and water too, though, and a purse that should be a suitcase.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a suitcase. Okay.
All right, Marita, introduce yourself.
I'm Marita Coffee, information and referral intake specialist at the Independent Center.
Yay.
Yay.
So how long have you been with the Independent Center?
Going on 4 years.
Man.
So,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a long time.
Yeah, man. I'm committed to the cause.
Nice. I think a lot of us are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether we want to say that we're committed or not, we're still there doing the work.
Yeah.
Making it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good cause, so
Yeah.
So
it's for the people.
So tell us how you came to the Independent Center. So let's talk about Marita and the road you got to this point and why the IC.
So I got my bachelor's in something that was pretty open, so criminal justice, and wanted to do some things with that field, but then expanded and thought about some other things. So went to Goodwill, did some case management with individuals from all different backgrounds, and kind of learned a lot about nonprofits, businesses, the government, etc. And kind of left that area because I wasn't quite happy with the kind of corporate way that Goodwill was going about things. So got out of that and then went on a mission to find another nonprofit with a good cause that I could potentially apply all of my skills with, and came to the Independent Center and been hanging out over there ever since. They decided to keep me.
She makes it sound so like matter of fact.
I know.
Were you there when Marita was working the front desk?
See, no, I know Marita in her Goodwill life.
Oh, you knew her
which
way
was
back
interesting
when she was shooting in the gym.
Which was interesting because I moved up really fast at Goodwill because I'm just incredibly efficient, and efficiency should be rewarded as a general rule, especially in places like big organizations. But sometimes the higher up you go, the more confusing it gets, and the less you feel like you're working with people, and the more you're working for a corporation. And that's not really what I got my education to do. And as much as you like the money, I like feeling like I'm making a difference and changing something or affecting somebody, and not just arguing with feds and things of that nature about things that they don't care. Numbers are all that really matter. So
Speaking of numbers, let's talk numbers real quick. On average, because I know that you know this stuff. On average, about how many potential consumers do you see? Like, let's say, like in a month, like the last numbers that you took.
Talk to. Exactly.
Huh?
She's totally playing with you right now.
I totally just got lost. Huh? I didn't know she was speaking Spanish. I don't know if she was saying the letter C as in the Roman, I didn't know.
Interact with.
Exactly.
Probably about 356 was last month.
How many?
Per month.
356. Email, walk-in, phone calls,
In a month?
I'm busy. And I have other projects, so, yeah.
So what does the process look like for, let's say, one of our listeners that's interested in coming to the Independent Center? What does that process look like as far as getting to you and getting everything in line to become a consumer?
Well, they can pretty much contact me, like I said, email, phone, or walk-in. Either way, there's just some questions that I ask to make sure that the independent center is exactly what they're looking for.
What are those? What type of questions?
Well, what it is that they're wanting. So there are some programs that we have specialists that specialize in at the Independent Center. And then there's a whole bunch of things that we don't do, like case management. And sometimes people walk in, they're like, I want case management. I want somebody to tell me what to do, check up on me, remind me when I have to do X, Y, Z, for a year until I get this done. It's like, that's great, no problem. I'm not here to talk you out of that. But we don't do that here. So let me give you some resources for places that do that. So sometimes it's, their disability makes it to where they really do need all that. And sometimes they just want that because they don't have that assurance that they can do it on their own. Right. Doesn't matter why. But if that's what they're interested in, I send them where they can get that. And there's plenty of places that do all of that type of deal. Right. So, we don't do case management, potentially what they're looking for. So if there are groups that they're looking for that we don't have, I tell them where they can go to get the groups, and I take notes and suggest that too, because we're always looking to grow and expand, obviously. So hopefully in the future we'll have what they're looking for, what people want. So a lot of it is what they're looking for, and then I also go through the process once they get signed up of explaining the empowerment philosophy, which is all about letting the person understand that they're in charge, that this is they're tailoring this experience and we're following their lead, that they're going to do, at least 70% of the work and we're going to be behind them. The main thing is that I explain to them is that when you're working with a specialist and you leave here, you're going to leave here with your goal completed saying, I did it. Oh, and the Independent Center helped me. Like, that's what you're supposed to do because you feel empowered. You feel like I achieved this goal that I set, that I wanted to do. And they helped me out. Right. And that's what we want. We don't want people going around saying, oh, they're so great. They did it all for me. I sat at home and, they have no empowerment. There's enough people and enough organizations and enough situations in life where when you have a disability, your power is taken away from you for multiple reasons. Sometimes it has to be because this person needs to do it. And sometimes, it's forcibly taken. But we want to make sure that they feel empowered. And that's a big part of everything that we do. And if they don't want to feel empowered and they do want that, we send them on their way and give them that kind of instruction. So, and some people go home and think about it and they call me back or something like that. So that's the major role. And the whole beginning of the packet after they decide that they want to work with us, and what we do is something that, what we offer is what they're looking for, is making sure they understand, that whole participation and the empowerment philosophy, which is huge. And then the rest of it's just boring.
Is there a question that you ask consumers when they come in and they're just lost? They don't know why they're there or what they want? Yeah. What do you ask them?
Yeah.
I can imagine the one question that you probably ask is, what do you want?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I ask that a lot. Sometimes they come in and they get pretty comfortable, and they just start talking and telling me, everything, how they got there and what their needs are. Obviously, sometimes you have to reel them in from, giving me the list of your, many disabilities to, okay, but what do you want? And some of them look at me, and I can tell just by the way they look at me that nobody has ever actually asked them that. Right. Everybody says, well, what's wrong with you? Or what's your disability? Or why can't you? I don't want to know any of that stuff. I mean, it's on the paperwork that you just handed me, so I already know what your disabilities are. I don't need you to tell me that. Right. I just want to know what you want to do. Yeah. And they just say, well, I have this and I have that. Yeah, I got that. I can see that you have XYZ, but what do you want? And then they sit there and think, and we sit quiet sometimes for a second and say, well, I would like to have a job, and they say I can't work, but I would like to, even if it's volunteer. Or, we get into talking about how they feel, or sometimes they'll say, well, I don't feel like I'm contributing to society, and I want to do something besides sit at home, or I don't feel like I'm, I'm doing everything that I can, or I wish that I could be more active in the community.
Contribute.
Like, oh, okay. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what we have to help you with that. Let's talk about how we can work towards that. So, of course, there's many who come in and pretty much tell me what they want and say, hey, I need this, I need, that, I need.
They pretty much already know.
They've already thought about it. And sometimes they get to looking at the intake packet and they say, well, I didn't know you offered this stuff, but since you mentioned it, I would like to also learn how to eat healthy, how to get prepared for an emergency, how to other things, and that I hadn't thought about. And I said, oh, okay, well, let's talk about that. And we give them the resources and get them signed up to do intakes and come back, and meet with the specialist and kind of go from there too. So, yeah, a lot of it's just sitting down and just having a conversation with the person and saying, what are you interested in, or what do you want? Like, what do you feel like is missing?
Right.
And a lot of times they just tell me. The hardest part is when people, not the person with the disability, contact for the person, and they're giving me all the issues, and I say, oh, okay, well, I'm thinking of a million things that could go. We could go left, we go right, we go up, we go down, we go this way, that way, and then I just say, well, what do they want? Because you're telling me what they need, and you want to bring them in to talk to me. Okay, what did they tell you they want? Well, I've never asked. You never asked them what they want, but you're calling me to have me tell you what they should do, but I don't know what they want.
Yeah, I need to talk to the actual person.
Like, the two have to connect. So I can give people information, even if they're, not the individual with the disability. Obviously, we all need help out there. We've all had people call around and help get information for us. But if it comes down to they need to participate in something,
Right.
Or there's more information, it's always better for me to talk to the person with the disability to get an idea of what they want.
Right.
And sometimes it's the exact opposite, or it's a mutation of what the person told me beforehand, what the person wanted. And I say, oh, okay, so it's just one of those things.
Wow.
Nice.
Huh.
Yeah.
You said a word that I really like, which is resources. What are some of the interesting resources that the IC offers that are not normally found in the community? Like, I can remember at one point in time we had vouchers from Goodwill for clothing, and I was like, man, that's pretty awesome. So are there any other like resources that are not directly in-house, but we have the access to, and we can give our consumers access to those types of resources that are like stand out? Can you think of any off the top of your head?
Well, we have there's the gift cards. Not gift cards anymore. What are they? No, they are gift cards. They're not sheets anymore. They're actual plastic gift cards.
Oh, cool.
That they give people, and it's better because you can use it on anything now. So now if people need furniture, or their kids need something that's not just the clothes that are on discount and all that. So that was a nice little
Goodwill?
deal.
That's for Goodwill?
Wow.
Nice.
Yep. So that was a nice little deal we got with that, but they go pretty fast. We don't have a big amount, unfortunately. Working on that. So we also get the ID vouchers from the DMV, which make it to where people can get an ID free. And then if people are born in Colorado and they need their birth certificate, we have the birth certificate forms to get voucher to get another birth certificate.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's
so
also
cool.
really helpful for what you do.
Yes, for benefits.
For benefits.
Definitely.
Because you generally have to establish your lawful presence in the United States and then your identity. And if you don't have an ID, you don't have the money to get an ID, or find your birth certificate, or maybe you were born in the northwest corner of Colorado and you can't drive up to that county to get your birth certificate.
Yeah, you can get it here.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool.
We have that. And then, of course, there's the discount bus cards that I process. And that's where once they bring in the proof of disability and an ID, they can have a card with their picture on it that they show, and it makes it half off to ride. They can also go to the grocery stores like King Soopers, Safeway, and they can buy the 31 ride. And they can ride as much as they want for a month, basically. And
that's
they don't have to worry
awesome.
about transfer tickets or anything like that. They can just take their time, not having to rush to get to the bus before their transfer expires, and all of that run around that is associated with that.
What is acceptable proof of disability for the bus card?
So they need to bring in an ID that's not expired. It can be pretty much any state ID, just an ID, state issued ID that's not expired, and then or a veteran ID that's not expired, and then proof of disability, which be one of the following. So if they're a veteran, a letter from the VA that shows they're 50% disabled or more. They can bring in a Medicare card not Medicaid, but Medicare card, or their Social Security award letter showing that they're approved. And lastly, if they don't have any of those, they can take the documents to their doctor or their psychologist, their medical professional, and bring it back stamped and filled out by them.
And that's a Med-9 form, right?
Or the Med-9 form.
Oh,
Yeah, or
okay.
the Med-9 form. So there's a couple of ways. Try to give them some options.
So the Med-9 form is through the Department of Human Services, right?
Yep.
And then we have our own separate document that is similar to the Med-9 that they can take to the doctor. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it has a sheet at the bottom the doctor can fill out. Yep.
Oh, perfect.
So we try to give them some options. We just can't take medical records because,
Well,
we
we're not
can't-
medical
we can't
professionals,
Look at,
yeah.
like a packet and say you're definitely disabled.
Right,
If the
right.
doctor signs off on it, we're okay with that.
Yeah,
It's fine.
we're going to trust their medical expertise and doctor
Right.
degrees.
Right. We'll
You
go
guys
with
can
that,
trust
but
it. No, I'm joking.
we'll go with that. So, and so that's another resource that we offer to people, and I just try to keep track of everything that exists in the community for everybody, but most importantly for people with disabilities, for when they contact with things that they need. So
Sure.
Nice.
Well, don't you have a monthly networking meeting that you conduct with community partners?
yes, once a month, usually the third Tuesday, but don't hold me to that.
Okay.
There is a networking event that happens at the IC, and I usually try to get in contact with people, send invitations, and spend a lot of time trying to get connected to invite people in the organizations in the community who work with people with disabilities. So that's a lot of groups, social workers, nonprofits, government individuals to come down and talk about what we do, the Independent Center, and then what they do and how we can all work together and collaborate on different things, if you will,
Gotcha.
to hopefully. So, and I think it's doing really well. When I first took on the position, there were a lot of incorrect referrals, and it has gone down dramatically. So
Yes, it has.
and that's not just me. That's everyone in the community just out there talking about it and letting people know what we do and how we do it. But the more the merrier. So I wish I could have one like every week to bring people in,
Yeah.
but I have too many people calling and coming in for that. But yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
So about how long does the intake process last when an individual that wants to become a consumer comes into the IC?
Whole process probably takes about an hour. The steps are generally they would come in and then they would meet with me. We would talk about what they need, and if it's determined, what we offer is exactly what they're looking for, then we oftentimes will set up an appointment for them to come back and meet with me to finalize all of the other paperwork, and for them to meet directly after that with the specialist who can work with them on their main goal and what that's going to look like.
Gotcha.
So it's about 2 appointments, and I'd say
Nice.
it's probably about an hour total with both of them. So
Oh, that's not bad.
maybe an hour and a half if you include the meeting with the other specialist, but yeah. So
So if you're
not too bad.
curious about information and resources, can you just walk in, or do you have to have an appointment?
you can walk in. Mm-hmm.
But what happens? Like, is there a wait time? So if somebody just walks in, will they see you
I
immediately?
just want to see Marita.
Right.
Well, yeah, sometimes they have to wait, depending on, if there's an appointment going on at that time, or if there's a walk-in, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah.
When I'm available, it's, whoever comes in and however much time that may take.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
and if the networking event is going on, like once, a month for an hour, if they come in right when it starts, obviously they'd have to wait an hour before they were seen. But
So to our listeners, it sounds better if you schedule an appointment.
Or maybe give a call.
If you're pressed for time.
Yeah.
If you just want to hang out in the IC in the lobby, and look at our great resource wall,
Talk to
feel
Tim
free
Mann
to.
at the
You can
front
talk to
desk.
Tim Mann and fill out your part 1,
Yeah.
whatever you would like. But
well, it's totally up to them. But they can always call too, because sometimes, what people need isn't, the Independent Center does a lot of amazing things, but, nobody can do everything. And sometimes what people need isn't anything that we do directly. They just need a list of day programs to take their kid or something, or they don't actually have to come in and wait, like 2 hours for that. I love to meet people. That's, why I do the job. I like working with people, I like meeting with people. But I also am a firm believer of not wasting people's time. And if it's something where it's like, hey, do you have a list of places, activities, martial arts, or recreational things that people with disabilities can do, I could email you or mail you that list. You don't have to actually physically come in and get that. That's all you need. Nothing else. I go over everything else we do. Any of this other stuff sound? No, I just want that. All right, then. Well, let me shoot you an email or let me mail that to you, and hope, that you find one on that list that you like. So it doesn't always have to be that. I just don't always want to waste people's time.
Sure.
And money, because not everybody lives in, near 729 South Tejon. So some people are quite a ways away. So it's
a little bit easier.
Or it's a couple bus passes and transfers for them to get here, and it's not always necessary. So they can call, and if it is necessary, then I can tell them, well, you need to, or you're going to have to meet with somebody to work on, your cooking skills, and that's what it's going to look like, and let's get you set up. So it just depends.
Right.
So.
Well, plus we're in one county of 6 that we serve, so it may not be, and we go all the way to the Kansas border. So driving in to talk to you about a resource guide, or you can do kind of your INR thing over the phone and then get them connected to an outreach specialist.
Exactly.
It does. I guess it just looks different for each person. Yeah, makes sense.
It looks different, and everybody, how far they can go. Some people don't have cars. Some people are waiting on their money or, Social Security to get approved, and it's not easy for them to get a ride down. So if they don't have to, then we try to make it easiest for them. So
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I was totally caught Googling, and I just have given Daniel a hard time with research. But I went to the IC website, so that's technically not research.
www.theindependencenter.org.
Yes.
Just throwing that out there.
Because I think that's a lot of information that Marita has out there that you can go search for. But if you're looking at a resource and you have some questions about it, there's a way to get connected to you without having to remember how to spell your name and make sure you're getting to the correct person. It's through the info email address. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's info, INFO, at theindependencenter.org, and it comes directly to Marita.
Right.
And what happens if it's a question about advocacy or benefits? What do you do with those?
Well, if they request me to call them, I'll call them and talk to them about that. If it's something that's pretty obvious, it goes to this department, it might get forwarded to that department, and the specialist will be giving them a contact. So
someone is actually monitoring that inbox and making sure that when you contact the Independence Center, it's going to someone who knows the programs, knows the information. So don't be hesitant about, going in, in the middle of the night when you're randomly surfing the internet.
Randomly listening to our podcast.
And surfing the internet. Go out there and kind of take a look at what we have. If there's something that you see that we need, maybe letting Marita know, because, she'll go do her own research and find ways to bring information, different resources to us.
It's amazing the things that you find that when people suggest things and you think, well, I'm not sure if that exists. This is brand new. Right. And next thing you know, you're looking up something. I'll never forget the first thing I looked up long time ago, years ago. Somebody was going through something, and I was trying to find something to help, and I found a place that you can drop your kid off when you're just about to lose it, and you drop them off and leave, and you can come back. And it's like 24 every day. It was like 24 hours at the time. And I was saying, they were like, you didn't have to pay money or anything like that. And I only found it because
of course you need that resource.
Breakdown. I said, let me see if I can.
I wonder if there's something out there. Actually, there is.
There is. You'd be amazed at
Drop your kid off at 2 a.m.
You'd be amazed at the things that are out there. If people ask, it's like, did you know that there's a resource for that? Did you know? Like, you're not the first person who thought of that. Right. Everybody thinks they're the first person who thought of that. And occasionally, people are the first person. So kudos to those originals. But a lot of times, there's other people who have also thought of this, and there's a group for it, or there's a meeting for it, or there's a a nonprofit that actually does just that. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. So you'd be amazed how many people, and you start researching it, have that same problem or have that same argument or believe the same thing. So it's good to see that, though.
Wow.
So,
Do you have any resources for RBA? Red Bull Anonymous classes?
I think there's a coping group that's starting at the Independence Center.
skills.
Maybe you should.
Do you need a coping skills group
I
for
need a
your...
sponsor.
Talk about your,
No, I'm serious. I think I have a problem.
Marita gave you a look,
mean,
too. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's about
you
to
could
come out of her
always go
mouth.
to an AA meeting, I guess. And, replace,
I can fit in there?
I
you
mean,
think?
you could replace,
Similar.
alcohol with Red Bull. I don't know how that
I'm
would
sure
work
that they would
exactly,
accept you.
Thank you.
but I think anybody would accept
Just wondering
you.
that.
Daniel.
I was
Why? I don't know.
you know, I have a way of growing on people like a fungus.
Barnacle.
Yeah,
A barnacle.
a mole.
One of those cancerous moles that
Oh
start,
my god.
that start looking different colors, and you're like, what?
Ew.
Is this supposed to look this color?
Like a wart. that
Hold
starts
on,
growing
guys.
hair
Yeah.
and-
Wait a minute, this
Like
went
looking like a
totally wrong.
person.
This wasn't supposed to go this way. Wait a minute.
What? We're not supposed to turn this around on you?
No. Now I'm a cancerous mole.
Yeah, a
Barnacle,
little bit.
yes.
I'll take it. That's
With gold bling.
it. Depends. I'll
Gold
take that.
bling.
There we go. Add
mole
gold.
with- a mole
It's
with
all
bling.
good.
Add gold. I'm
That
happy.
doesn't sound right.
Golden Red
I'll
Bull.
be a cancerous oozing something, but as long as I have gold, I'm
I'm
happy.
supposed to be the one that takes
Yeah.
things left. You just took that really left. That
I
was,
need a scalpel. Seriously.
oh
I'm
man,
about to cut it.
Some tweezers. Oh gosh! All right, we just totally went down.
Oh yeah, wrong.
a
Yeah.
Daniel rabbit hole.
Oh, totally.
My bad.
Yeah.
So-
but this happens on a regular basis with our episodes, so that's
Yeah.
only like the first one.
That's good though.
Yeah, not bad for.
Scaling back.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't scale back. That's actually probably the best part of our podcast.
Is the rabbit hole?
Yeah. Depending on the rabbit hole, I think.
Cancerous oozing moles. The best part of our show.
Well,
Okay.
at least the rabbit holes.
Alright.
Depending, it depends.
With
Anyway,
bling. With bling.
yes, with
So-
bling.
So how can people get in contact with you, Marita? How can people schedule that initial interaction?
Well, they can, like I said, they can always walk in 729 South Say Home, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. Though you don't want to get there at 4:30, obviously.
Yeah, please don't.
Because I want to give people time and consideration. But you can also call 719
471.
471-8181. And you can always ask for me, or you can extension 140. Or you can always email through the IC email, which is
Info at theindependencecenter.org.
I know that one.
Yes.
So,
And we'll add the page from our website to the podcast description so that people can click on it and find all the good details, and then hopefully get to your email address if anything. And then if you have some random disability questions, send them Marita's way, because what she'll do is the way that I look at Marita is she's like the gatekeeper.
She is.
She truly is.
She is.
So she doesn't want people who are looking for peer support services to go to benefits.
Right.
Which randomly happens at times. Mm-hmm. And so then, because that's, of course, being aware of someone's time and effort into getting to their goal. But so you will take that information and get it to the right person, or do some investigation to find out likely what they're asking for if it doesn't make sense in the email. Give her a call, or can you clarify what you're asking for?
oh yeah, there's a lot of that, because when we email, sometimes, a lot of times it can be tyranny of the moment. There's extra details.
Yeah.
I have a lot of detailed information about a lot of resources, and when I call people and talk to them, I always say, I'm going to ask you some questions because I need to narrow down where I need to send you. And it'll say, well, do you have any pendants? Well, how old are you? What's the disability? Well, how long? Lots of questions, and the whole time my brain is either pulling things in or kicking them out. Nope.
Right.
Too young, too old to, this or that, or this is specific to this group of people. So that way we can narrow down to exactly what they're looking for or what they're needing.
Sure.
So, and no question is really too big or too small, or, anything like that. I just like to hear what people are needing and try to help them. Because sometimes when you narrow it down, it's a lot easier than or, you know, it's a lot easier or different than what they originally kind of thought.
Sure.
Because anytime you're in a crisis, you automatically think one thing, and then there are all these other resources that have different names or different titles, you know.
Nice.
So it's like, you know, they'll say advocacy, and they'll say, well, you know, but I want to be in charge, and I want this, and, you know, I don't want nobody doing this, and I haven't did this yet to get here. And it's like, oh, what you really need is you want us to train you how to advocate for yourself. Okay,
we can do that.
So originally you said you wouldn't. Okay, so now we're narrowing it down, and we want to make sure that we can get you that, so you can be empowered and do that. And you know, so I always tell them, you know, feel good they're taking the first couple of steps, you know, and trying to do it. So any steps are good steps, and a lot of times people will take the information and they may call back or come in or think about it and contact the people who they need to contact. So
whatever you do not show up 15 minutes late for your appointment.
Yes, don't do that.
Because it will be canceled.
Yes.
It has
we will
to be,
move
sorry.
on.
When you have appointments, it's normally, you know, one of those things where when we set the appointment, we try to give enough time, but it's tight because the specialist you meet with, me and then the other specialists usually have other appointments. So we can only push 15 minutes, unfortunately.
Makes sense.
And it doesn't hurt to give us a call. If you're going to be 10 minutes late, just give us a call.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to say, oh, no, you can't come in because you're going to be 10 minutes late.
Right.
But communication is everything.
Yep.
You know, and if you can communicate that with the front desk, with Marita or whoever your specialist is, that'd be very beneficial for everyone in the situation.
Well, plus that there's some adjustments that we need to deal with for the later in the day if we're going to be adjusting for someone being late. Then just being aware that the impact of your lateness will affect at least another 10 to 15 people, depending on the rest of the day. So, but, you know, so Marita, let's talk a little bit about you.
Oh.
Yes. Because
you
went all about what you do and how you do it.
Yeah.
But you are a very unique person, and you have, you know, some great energy. And when people meet you, they're like, oh, she's so cool. She's got some energy, and you got a beautiful smile, and you open people up and allow them to kind of talk to you. But, you know, I don't know how to ask this question outside of, like, tell us about Marita. Like, what do you want? Who are you, and why did you get here, and what's the passion?
And my temperance and all of that probably comes from, you know, growing up with an older brother who had a disability.
Sure.
And it's so funny because, you know, it's like you've always known they had a disability even before you know the name of it. Interesting when you see pictures, when we look at pictures in the family of my older brother and I, know I'm smaller than him, I'm always holding his hand and leading him around because, you know, his disability is blindness, so his vision.
Sure.
So, but it's, I don't know, it's just, and then he also is on the cusp for autism.
Okay.
So, but you just, you know, it's a normacy, and you just develop kind of this, I don't know, disability is just another part of life, just like air, just like water. It's not,
preach it.
You know.
Yep.
To some people, I know it's a big deal and a big change and extremely obvious and can make them uncomfortable. But I don't know. I guess, you know, I've never been uncomfortable or bothered by people with emotional differences or behavioral differences or physical differences because I've always been around it. So I'm totally comfortable with people of all disabilities when they come in and talk to me, and I always have been. All disabilities, all backgrounds, all social differences, and I think maybe people see that when they meet with me that I am comfortable. Yeah. I'm not afraid if I see something that, you know, society is trying to say is scary or dangerous, or I'm not uncomfortable, you know, with somebody who has a physical disability. It's like, I don't feel uncomfortable, and, you know, I just go with the flow. And it's so funny that it took me a long time to realize that other people do feel uncomfortable because I didn't see it.
Right.
You know? It's
well, you were raised to not see it, so that would make sense.
Right.
And then what did that feel like when you realized that other people had problems with people with disabilities and how they interact.
It was weird because it came from one of my friends.
You're like, come again?
She would always, because my brother's vision, sometimes he stares hard. He's trying to obviously see what is over there, and his pupils shake, and he's and I never really noticed. But growing up, I know people would say, "Oh, your brother's staring at me," and they would have attitude. There was lots of fights. I was a defender, a champion of the small, if you will. My mom used to say, and. I'm like, hey, my brother's like blind. What's your problem? But it was so funny because I had a friend who didn't, know about my family or anything. We hadn't gotten that far. And we were out somewhere and she says, that person over there is just staring at me. What's their problem? And I just got tired and I looked at her and I said, maybe there's something wrong with their vision. Have you ever thought of that?
Right.
Have you ever thought that there's, or maybe they're having a hallucination? Like, have you ever considered that it's not about you, that it's just who they are, and not take it personal? Like, who cares? So, but I didn't realize that other people were so uncomfortable, with people with disabilities until, and then I got to thinking more about it and how sometimes people interacted around my brother, even friends and people, and I'm like, you guys, it's not, so
it's not contagious.
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, I think they were more worried, and I give them credit and I say, they're not bad people. They're just don't understand. And that's why we have, training to teach people how to be around people with disabilities, because I think there's all this fear of, oh, if I leave a chair out and he doesn't see it and he falls over it. My brother's a tough dude. It's not the end of the world. He's 5'11" and, strong. He's not going to cry, or it's not going to...
Right. He'll be
they
okay.
were so scared that they were going to do or say the wrong thing, and that, and I felt kind of sorry for them, actually, looking at it on a different side, that they were so like, I'm going to do something wrong, or, and they would invite me to things and not invite my brother. And I'd say, why aren't you inviting my brother? There's why can't he
can
come?
enjoy it too,
And we wouldn't want him to run into anything, or and even if he does, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, why are you guys making this? You're isolating him or leaving him out because of your imagined, this might happen or that might happen. Like, if you knew him, you would know that even if it did happen, he'd just keep it moving.
He'd probably laugh.
Right, exactly.
He'd probably laugh.
I'm going to laugh.
He wouldn't lose his temper, and even with the autism, people are like, well, he's strange, or he's a great guy. If you
he's
get
really
to know him,
him.
People don't give you a chance, and it would really, really bother me, the way people would behave, and I was never like that for any disability,
Nice.
So, but a lot of people are like that, and I feel kind of sorry for those people, because it's like, you're missing out on knowing an amazing group of people because you won't get out of your box of thinking, and you haven't even had interaction with people to be able to say anything. You're just assuming that if you find out this person has a disability, or if you see the disability, that there are all these things, and it's you're shorting yourself in life opportunities to know amazing people because you are too scared to take the step.
And you're choosing not to see them.
Don't be scared.
It's ridiculous, though. And a society that's so outgoing, and everybody's into everything. You see it on Facebook all the time, and people are interested in everything. But if somebody with a disability walks up to you, just back off, like like you're so scared to
me a lot.
with that.
Yeah, that does surprise me.
Like, I find that individuals with disabilities tend to be really cool people compared to people that don't identify with disabilities. Like, I like hanging with people with disabilities.
Yeah. Well, they're also very inventive and clever, and the things that they find that in order to adapt and to engage in society anyway, persons with disabilities have to find a way to do that. So they're the most inventive and the most clever and adaptive group of people that...
and if you think you have horrible jokes about individuals with disabilities,
my goodness.
Individuals with disabilities go 10 times further.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's really
it is bad. And you're like, can I laugh at that? I'm
Right.
like, yes, you can laugh at that. It's allowed.
Right. Marita, have you ever thought about running for, like, Congress or working in radio? Because you totally avoided the who is Marita question.
Exactly.
Like, that was great.
That was
like,
great.
I love the way
You did.
You spun the crap out of that.
Yeah, you did.
Like, I was like, man, she killed that.
I'm like, anytime you want to get to who you are.
That was perfect.
We're
dealing with the onion.
Oh, yeah, we are.
We got layers.
Yeah, we have layers of Marita.
Who I am. I'm the my mom says, the champion of the small. I'm the one who, I don't know. I like to help people. I want to help people. I think probably hold my own career back because I'm so focused on wanting to make sure when I go home at night that I feel good or that I accomplish something bigger than myself. So, all
so
that.
Marita is a humble.
I know. So what we'll have to do is have her come back and talk to us about who she is. Like we'll actually have to prepare like questions, like what's your favorite color? What street did you live on when you were 5?
Never mind. Never mind. We're gonna have to get her a Sarah Huckabee.
Yes, we are.
Oh no, you did it! Really?
It's all about the
It's like
spin.
that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm trying here, guys. Gosh, I'm
It's all
trying
good.
here.
It's all, you're doing great.
Yes, you are doing great.
Yeah,
We like to give our guests who show up prepared a hard time.
definitely.
I'm not
Throw 'em off.
prepared technically.
Yeah,
Yes, you are.
You did that like
I
a
forgot that we
politician.
even had
Yeah.
this podcast today. Like I totally went to work, and Tim Mann said at the front desk, the amazing front desk people, they were like, "Oh, so what time you going to do your podcast?" I said, "What?
Oh, that's today?
Oh my god!
Oh, man,
What happens
see?
when you have a kid?
It's all good.
Yes.
I told her it was last week.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, no, that's not, it's not tomorrow. It's okay. It's next week. And she's like, oh,
See why we
okay.
give people that 15-minute leeway because we are human too.
We are
I
human.
used
too.
every
made it here on
second
time.
of that.
You
15
did.
minutes.
You made it here on time with coffee
I did.
and
did.
your prep stuff, which again, we'll give you a hard time about.
And my last name is Coffee, so anytime anybody wants to reach out, you can always just call and ask for coffee.
And they'll know who they're talking about. Yeah.
We'll have another coffee conversation off the air.
Totally. But then we will have you back, so prepare yourself.
Okay.
We may have to bring your brother in. He can tell us all the Marita stories.
Would he be cool with that?
Of course, he never forgets a thing.
Oh, yes,
He's the
totally. We're
worst
going to have
This
to
is
do
gonna
it.
be
He'll
great.
bring up something
That's how we found out who
that
Marita
I
is.
have locked
Yeah.
away in a box, and he'll say, I'm like, I don't, and I'll think, and like 3 hours later, it'll come to me, and I was like, how do you remember these things? I'll tell you, it's like a walking list of Marita experiences that have been on.
Oh yeah, we're getting her
Oh,
brother.
it's happening. It's happening.
It's terrible.
And we're not going to have you
It's
book
terrible.
that because you'll
Right.
probably tell him the wrong time, so he
Exactly.
doesn't show up
Totally
to talk about
blackmail me
you.
if you wanted.
Remember the time you hit me in the head with an iron?
Nope, I don't remember that.
I don't
time.
even remember
I don't even remember that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No way.
No, didn't
way.
happen.
But that's cool. So, all in all, if you want to contact Marita, hit her up through the info email address.
Yes.
Right.
info@theindependencenter.org.
Yep. Or you can call her at 719-471-8181 extension 140.
Yep.
Correct.
Or you
Right.
can just show up with your sparkling personality and ask for her.
Yes, yes.
That works too.
Yeah.
That works too.
Right. And
Yeah.
if you're looking for us,
Oh,
You can find us.
just go through Marita.
just go through Marita.
Yeah.
That makes it much easier. We should have been giving out her info.
All right.
Just thought about
This whole
that.
time. Why didn't we think about it until now?
She is the gatekeeper. and
Yeah,
she'll
she is
definitely
the
be like,
gatekeeper.
No.
She's like, no,
Yeah.
we don't. They don't want to talk to you. You can be like our publicist. Oh.
Is there a pay raise in this?
Yeah, we pay in Red Bull.
Well,
Oh,
you
okay,
pay
well,
in
good.
Red
We're
Bull.
praying to be, hopefully Red Bull pays us. We're looking to be sponsored by Red Bull.
Red Bull?
Yeah.
The
can
most
do that.
wonderful energy drink that gives you wings.
They say. That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they
My
say.
smile just blinged. Like
Oh,
the
did it?
commercial.
Oh. God, I wish you would sit on my blind side so I didn't have to see the blinding
You know.
blinging of the
I'm right
smile.
in front of him.
It
How do you think I
happens.
feel?
Yeah,
Hey, look,
true.
I'm trying to put you guys in my position of blindness. You know, I'm trying to make this happen.
Yeah,
One
no.
smile at a time.
Oh my gosh.
No more white shirts for you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so then we're gonna call out that we're signing off. I'm Rebecca,
I'm Daniel.
and this is a Real Empowerment
Like,
podcast.
really real empowerment.
Yes, exactly. Thanks so much.